All right, skip the introduction, skip the background music. Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev is in the works for Abu Dhabi, October 24th, UFC 294. So I guess Khamzat Chimaev isn't going to middleweight because initially Usman wanted it, but Dana said he didn't want to do it at a catch weight or Usman to fight him at middleweight. But now Dana's saying that it's actually going to be in the welterweight division. So I guess Khamzat is going to just try to make the weight at 170. I mean, hopefully he can. Hopefully this guy actually gets disciplined and can actually make the weight and we get a fair contest at 170 and this guy doesn't get an unfair weight advantage. But, you know, I'm glad that Khamzat Chimaev, I mean, I don't know if this fight is actually going to happen, but if it does, I'm glad he's getting this fight and this big test in Kamaru Usman. Tough fight for both guys, but it's more so going to be a tough fight for Chimaev than it is for Usman, because Usman, he's got that experience. He's fought all kinds of styles. He's been in there with multiple different types of wrestlers, guys who can shut out his wrestling, but he's able to adapt and work his striking like we saw against Colby. I mean, even against Burns, he had like a way cleaner performance. So we know the wrestling cancels each other out, and it's going to come down to the striking, which honestly, I got to favor Usman if it comes down to that, because I just think Usman, he's got the cleaner boxing. I mean, he can use kicks as well, like teep kicks very effectively. I think he's got better footwork than Chimaev. And Kamaru Usman also has got a very effective jab as well. You know what I'm saying? And Chimaev doesn't really move his head all that much. And I can see Usman finding a home for that jab to stifle that pressure of Khamzat Chimaev. And that clean jab 1-2, that straight cross that he uses to follow up with that jab is pretty nasty. And I could just see Kamaru Usman just boxing Khamzat Chimaev's block head off. But Chimaev's pretty durable. He can take a hell of a shot. So I don't know if Usman will be able to get him out of there. So I'd say this fight would go to a decision. And I'd say Usman would end up winning the decision. He'd outpoint Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, the only thing that I'd really be worried about is, okay, yeah, Chimaev matches the wrestling, but this is like the first guy who can actually match the physicality of Usman, the physical strength of Usman. Usually Usman has like a strength and power advantage over his opponents, but Chimaev, you know, he might be stronger than Usman or just as strong. And he definitely does hit hard enough to hurt Usman, but he's just not as accurate as Kamaru Usman with his strikes. Doesn't use kicks all that well. So, yeah, I think Usman should win. I mean, Usman's problem with Leon Edwards, which I don't see Chimaev presenting those same problems, is Leon Edwards is arguably maybe the best striker in the welterweight division, up there with Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And Usman was unable to impose his wrestling in that third fight with Leon Edwards. So because they were striking a lot, Leon picked them apart. But obviously Chimaev, Boers don't got that striking technique of Leon Edwards. He doesn't got the tools that Leon does on the feet. So I think in just the striking, Usman should be fine. And I don't see Usman getting taken down, although you never know. I mean, Leon Edwards was able to body lock trip Usman in the second fight. And Chimaev is good at switching up his takedowns. Like, if Chimaev just goes for singles and doubles, he's not getting it. But maybe from the clinch, he might be able to get that same takedown Leon did. And if they end up in the mount, if he gets Usman's back, it could definitely be trouble. But I don't know. I don't see that happening to Usman. Although it's possible. Usman's not getting overpowered, out-wrestled. And Chimaev's pressure is going to be very ineffective. It's going to be null against Kamaru Usman. So, yeah, I think Usman has this if he really shows up. And I've been saying, you know, since that Leon trilogy, that Usman is not washed and he's going to win his next fight. You know, the problem with that third Leon fight is also that he was coming off the first knockout loss of his career, wasn't all the way back, but now that he's had one fight back since, I think we're going to see Usman get his mojo back coming off those Leon losses. He survived to the distance, full distance with Leon in that trilogy, which should help his confidence. He was able to make it a very close fight against Leon. Wasn't like Usman's greatest performance, but it wasn't really his worst performance either, and like a few adjustments. I think we should see a bounce back win for Kamaru Usman. I don't know, man. I've been saying I have a feeling that Usman's gonna win his next fight, but we'll see. Looking forward to it. Hope this fight happens. I see Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, being that first loss on Boar's record. But let me know what you guys think in the comments.